I felt it was a tale of two cities, one in which we lived in during the day, and the other that gripped us at night. But then at 6:55 a.m. in the morning, because Charlie was working all night, we got a call that there was a disturbance on Jefferson Avenue. We pulled up, and Charlie drove the car expertly, and all of a sudden we got out of the car, and it was still dark, overcast. It looked like it was going to rain. The sun had not broken through. There was a heavy sense in the air. And all of a sudden, I saw, when Charlie pointed out, there was a crumpled body on the side of the curb in the gutter with a lot of the trash. And I rushed out of the car, and I had a sickness inside of me. I had a feeling that I'd never be the same after this. And I got out of the car and rushed to the person that was laying there, and they were clothes tattered and torn. Everything was just ripped up. There was blood as far as you could see. And there was a body bruised and bent. And I went down on my knees, and I heard a voice very far away, like it was in the tunnel, saying to me, "Please, please help me." And I went to take that victim's arm, and all of a sudden I looked at the forearm, and there were the numbers of Auschwitz. That woman was Elsie Cohn. She was lying in the gutter. She had escaped all the horrors of Auschwitz, to be beaten and raped, almost killed in the gutter by Mariel refugees. All of a sudden, Charlie started screaming, "Get a blanket." And I said, "Charlie, I know her." He said, "Alex, move." We went, paramedics came, and all of a sudden a group of people came out, and it was sad. It was watching lambs being slaughtered by lions. I was getting a view of the city that Charlie had seen night after night. And Elsie just was laying there pleading, "Help me." We jumped in the police car. We started racing 3 blocks. Charlie made a left turn, and all of a sudden we saw 3 men. They were very tall. They looked very large. They had a sense, you could feel evil. Sometimes, you get around something that doesn't feel good. I sensed something was wrong, and Charlie said to me, "Stay in the car." He called for backup. He went out and he started saying to him, "Stop, I want to talk to you." The men turned around in Spanish and said, "We don't speak English." And they didn't run. They didn't hide. They didn't try to get away. They stood there defiantly. Then all of a sudden, when Charlie was going ahead, one of them sucker punched him and hit him in the eye. The other one went for his gun, his revolver. Without thinking, I rushed out of the car, and the 3 of them tried to jump Charlie. And I grabbed one of them, and I remembered I wanted to hit him as hard as I could in the nose. Something told me if I hit him hard enough in the nose, I just might kill him. But I spun around, and he moved. He had such an instinct. He moved the last minute, and I hit him, and his mouth erupted, and teeth came flying out and fell down. Once Charlie was freed, he covered his gun, and he immediately dove on the other attacker. The third one tried to run, and I grabbed him from behind, and I pulled him down, and I started to strangle him. Every emotion in my body was bent on killing that human being. Every emotion, every sense I ever had. Because you see, in the Garden of Eden, when Adam ate the apple, he ended up with the Adam's apple. This is a very vulnerable part of the body. It's a part in which people, if they're struck, get hurt immediately. I leveraged my arm around his Adam apple, and I wanted to crush it. I wanted to break his larynx up, because all I kept remembering was Elsie Cohn, and how she appeared, and how she looked. And I don't know how long passed, but they went ahead, other police officers came, and they broke my grip. And then we started beating these animals. We started beating them so bad. So bad. I couldn't stop. I wanted to hit them. I wanted to kill them. I wanted to take them apart. I wanted them to suffer the way they had made Elsie suffer and the way they had made so many other people suffer. That night, a part of me changed. A part of me wanted to go out every chance I could and try to help the police and ride with the police. And I knew then that something sad and something very bad in our city was happening. I then went ahead and ran for re-election as commissioner a second time, got re-elected. Then a third time, got re-elected. Then I ran for mayor. But the events that transpired while I was in politics became a burning desire within me to write a book. Because Sins of South Beach is more than a book, as Charlie said. It's the true story of violence, corruption, sex, murder, drugs, and the making of Miami Beach. Let me ask you a question. How many of you ever thought of running for politics, please? About 8 people. How many have never thought of running for politics? How many of you don't give a damn about politics? Well, don't give a damn, it's all agreed. And I gotta tell you, you're a great crowd. Most of you voted 3 times. Jeez, my gosh, I mean, that's wonderful. Politics it's a different type of experience when you're through it. I want to share with you one more story, and then I'll take questions from the group. I know you've got some questions to ask me. Politics is a very interesting business. Not just being a politician, the emotions, the knowledge, the experiences I learned from the people I was with became very fantastic and very wonderful. And most of all, there was a time in 1984 when I was driving to my law office, and my lovely secretary Sheila is here. Thank you for being here, Sheila. I love you, you know, you're so kind. And as I was driving down Washington Avenue, and South Beach wasn't the way it is today. There was boarded up buildings, there was dirty streets. How many remember the way South Beach was? Hey, you look too young for that, right? Gosh, you're an old-timer like me. But South Beach, you know, people go to South Beach and they go, oh my gosh, the place is fantastic. It wasn't always that way. You know, it wasn't always that way at all. And I can tell you honestly, it was a very, very different place. The streets were terrible, it was deserted, no one wanted to live there. And I was going down the street, and I saw a bunch of police cars and ambulances there. And I said to myself, my gosh, what's going on? I'd never seen 6 or 7 police cars and ambulances. They had to up the yellow tape that they have for when there's an accident or something terrible happened. And all of a sudden, I got out of my car, pulled over the side, and I was walking there. The streets were basically deserted. And there was a yellow tape up that said, crime scene, don't pass. And I looked and I said, what's going on? Major Woolridge came out. He said, Alex, one of our police officers has been shot. He's been very seriously injured. And I turned around and I said, shot? This is Miami Beach. And he guided me into that alley on A Street. And I'll never forget, when I first got there, the first thing I saw was the police officer's tattered uniform. And it was shocking to see a police officer's uniform because when you get injured, the paramedics cut the uniform off to try to resuscitate you when you're seriously hurt. And there was blood everywhere. I mean, I'm talking about pools of blood, and I was trying to say, how much blood does a human body have? How much can we lose before we're no longer alive? And the police officer, I asked the major at the time, I said, what's the name of the fellow? He said, Donald Kramer. And Donald Kramer was a beautiful human being. He was 43 years old enough to be a police officer. He was Jewish, and he used